Hi, everyone. Today, I'd love to introduce you to this really amazing man, Rex Sikes. He comes to us from Wisconsin today. Is that right, Rex?
That is right. Today. Yep.
Yes, today. And he is recognized by peers, colleagues, and students as the mindset master or the attitude doctor. I really like that expression. I can't wait to hear more about that. Sykes has offered 4 decades of experience to people, helping thousands transform their minds, lives, and their pocketbook. He's a master authority in NLP, how the brain works, and whole brain and accelerated learning, the law of attraction, and he's a master hypnotherapist and master hypnotist. Plus, he is the founder of the IDEA seminars. His innovations include mind design, directed questions, the attitude activator, and the mastery loop. He conducts online programs of transformation, mind design manifesting, and the law of attraction, NLP, at public events. Sykes is a professional speaker, life and business mentor, consultant, and educator. In addition to his blog, Daily Inspiration and Gratitude, Rex is an author, creator of the Attitude Activator, and featured on Learning Strategies Euphoria program. That sounds neat. I'd like to hear about that. Rex presents seminars, public and corporate programs, full workshops, and training events. He mentors professionals and newcomers in their fields. He is a keynote speaker whose captivating message inspires audiences and will remain with you. He has appeared before millions on television, radio interviews, and commentary. His topics include making your dreams come true, conditioning and nutrition for your mind, why affirmations don't work and how to get them to work, creativity and intuition, making a great impression, creating rapport, and how to understand and utilize body language. Woo! All right, Rex, I want to learn it all.
And you can.
Yes. I want to just thank you for being willing to share your wisdom here today with our audience. And it's been such a pleasure getting to know you. We had a little chat for the audience. We had a little chat right before we started this recording. And I have to tell you, this man has a very, very amazing heart. And so as much as you, all of the things that you've created and you're doing in your physical world, I have to tell you that I have been really touched by the way in which you deliver and serve. So I can't wait for the audience to get to know you as well. Did I miss anything in sharing all that you do and all that you want people to know?
No, you probably shared more than enough. Thank you. I'm humbled. I'm honored. I'm privileged to be here, and getting to know you has been a real treat, a real blessing. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And so to start this off, I think I'd love to hear from you first, a little bit about your background, how you came to entrepreneurship, how you discovered that this is something that you want to do with your life. If you could talk to that.
Wow. Well, as a kid, I wanted to be two things, an actor and a mystic, and I've managed both of those. And one of the things that I learned the hard way about being an actor was I was agented and managed and promoted by other people, but when it came to having to do it myself, I had no clue, and maybe I still don't. But the point is that everybody took charge, and if they did it well, then things went well for me, and if they didn't do it well, or they didn't do it at all, then things weren't going well. And the industry changed when I was yet in my early 20s, from where you could do things to where you almost could not do anything yourself. It really, then they threw it onto the shoulders of these people. So I had to learn how to navigate a career, and I had to learn what to do and what not to do. And I so desperately wanted guides or mentors. I didn't even know the word mentor at the time.
Yeah.
Somebody who would say, "You stop that. That's being stupid. And yes, do more of that. That's being right." And I ran into a guy when I was about 18 years old who terrified me. He truly was a mystic entrepreneur, very successful in show business, and wanted me to hug him all the time and give me love. And he'd say things like, "Give me something." And I'm like, "What do you want me to give you?" I didn't know, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Give me you." And I'm like, "What are you saying?"
I don't know what that means.
And I would run away, and I would go off, and then I kind of crawl back, and he'd greet me like I'd never left. He was like, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on?" I was like, this guy's just mind-boggling. He confuses me. He's ever present. If issues came up in business, you might see a very micro glimmer of, okay, well, we'll handle it. it'll take care of itself, or go do this or go do that. And I was like, where does this guy come from? And one day he said he was a meditator. Well, I had meditated, and stuff like that, but I was like, I don't, you're out there.
Yeah.
So this on again, off again kind of relationship with him. And he didn't really want anything from me other than for me to authentically show up. And to go, look, you're in this planet and you keep missing it. You're trying to fulfill all these other people's expectations of you, your parents, your religion, your church, your peers, instead of just living your life authentically. And I was like, and it scared me and it terrified me. And I ran into some trouble in later. I write about it in my book, Life on Your Terms. And I've had a series of crises. I mean, it wasn't that I had one and it was over and done with. I've had a series of, I've lost all my money many of times and things like that. But what I learned through all of it was attitude is everything. Your mindset and your heart is everything. It literally, we have all these trite sayings like attitude determines your altitude. It's a little thing that makes a big difference, but it truly does, because when hardship, when the poo hits the fan, it's how you handle it. What do you do? And what I discovered way back then, but what I talk about now so much is, the very first thing when you get up in the morning, you go, wow, I'm so glad to be alive. This is so wonderful. I get to do all these incredible things today. Instead of, oh God, I haven't had my coffee yet. What's going to what's happening, excuse my language, in the office. I don't have any money. The bank is foreclosing on my house. In other words, it's how do you move into your day, and how do you move into each and every moment? Because how you are most of the time determines how you are most of the time. And while that sounds silly or redundant, is if your mindset isn't right, it really doesn't matter what else you do. Yeah. Because you're going to be trying to do things and trying to fix things and trying to solve things, all the while your body and your mind isn't in its most optimal. And so here's the key. When you're optimistic, when your attitude is working for you, when your mindset is powerful and positive, you're squirting the right neurotransmitters and hormones to produce well-being in your body. You end up eliminating stress. You improve your immune system. You open up things like your peripheral vision, but not only your peripheral vision, but your ability to notice opportunities and to make better decisions.
Yes.
And when you're stressed, when you're negative, when you're looking at doom and gloom or the hardship or focused on the problems and what do I do about this, your peripheral vision literally closes down. That's a fight or flight mechanism in the brain that when you're threatened, either emotionally or really, physically, what happens in the body and the brain is that it prepares you to fight or flee. So your peripheral vision contracts so that your foveal vision, where you can look, is to look for means of escape. Your blood goes to your extremities. Your heart pounds quicker. It shuts down the cerebral cortex, so you don't have to think. You only have to be able to run, or you have to be able to fight. And so when you're stressed, especially people who live with chronic or even acute stress in business or in their personal lives, in their relationships, with their pocketbook, or about their health or whatever it might be, when they're in this stressful position, they're squirting all these hormones that lead to disorder or disease that prevent us from making good decisions and from being able to recognize the opportunities that exist, even in the hardship. And that's the thing that, there's always a silver lining, but people don't know to look for it because they're preoccupied with things that distract them, deflect them, or keep them from their resources. And here's the last thing I'll say. You and I are infinite possibilities and infinite resources, and we have an infinite capacity to discover and to utilize opportunity. And so many of us have been trained or conditioned out of it.
Yeah.
But not only when we were kids, it's ongoing. And our current thought leaders of the day and our self-help gurus and those who say they aren't our gurus and all that kind of stuff are helping perpetuate a problem for most of us. And that is, we're chasing the wrong stuff. And entrepreneurs are chasing the wrong things many, many times.
Yes. And I want to talk with that. That is a perfect segue, because in our conversation right before this, and it's certainly in a lot of the research I've done as well as a coach, as a psychotherapist, in studying positive psychology and whatnot, like I've been noticing this trend. And before we get to your topic, I think one of the things that I wanted to highlight in what you shared is that authenticity and getting into that heart energy, because I'm sure that I can certainly relate with you. I've been in this business for like 30 years now, that those words were not commonly used in our vernacular at the time. Like, back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, thousands, like people weren't walking around like, are you living in your authentic self? They would look at you like you had two heads, or five. And so nowadays, these catchphrases are out there, but I don't think that people really understand what that means, or they use it. And I'm hoping that you talk to this, that we use it as a tool or a means to an end rather than the end. Like when you talked about the mentor that you met, right? And that all he wanted from you is for you to show up as your authentic self. Whereas most people are like, okay, I've got to do this seminar, this conference, this thing. And I got to drop into my heart and be authentic so that I can receive these other things, as like a transactional kind of relationship that backfires every single time. So tell us what we need to do. All these entrepreneurs out there are probably thinking the same thing I am. Okay, so I've been taught all this stuff. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought that I was following these programs, these ideas, and they're successful. So it's worked for them. What are you saying? That it's not going to work for me? Like, what does that mean? And how are we supposed to fix it now?
Wow, great question. And many great points right there. Awesome. Thank you. I've been doing this for over 40 years, going on 50 years professionally, and the thing is that I've seen people come in and devastated, business people from all walks of life. I mean, I've trained everybody from high executives, government officials, people I can't mention, all the way down to common people you would never ever think would come for a training. I mean, because they come, and the point is that the goal is to connect people up with their resources and their ability to feel that they can make a difference in their life. Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you are correct.
Right. Yes.
And what that says is mindset matters. Your attitude matters. Because if you don't think you can, you're probably not going to. But if you think you can, then maybe you will. Doing it is another story, but at least you're at where there's a potential for moving forward. But if you think you can't, it's likely you won't. Right. And Ford said something else that's truly, truly profound. He said, I never let what I cannot do prevent me from doing what I can. And I love that. Because some people stop themselves from doing what they know they should be doing or could be doing or want to be doing or desiring to be doing. And one of the reasons for that is because they've been sold the wrong bill of goods from so many people, through our educational systems, through their parents, through religions, through politics, through everything, through the conditioning process, through the media. We're all taught to be worker bees, essentially, in every country. And that there's a ruling class or a privileged class or blue blood class that's DNA is different than ours. And they don't want us competing with them. And so we're distracted. We're taught to fight among ourselves. We're taught to think less of ourselves and to feel less than ourselves. And they contaminate our food and our air and our thinking and our everything. Oh, my
goodness.
So that it makes it different. And we're all on drugs, that kind of meds, if not others, which keep us vibrating really, really low. Mm-hmm. And what I discovered when I was about in my 20s was, your hardship isn't something to be avoided, and business loss and business hardship isn't something to be avoided. It's something that we learn from. The problem with people is they don't take it as this is here for me. Now that may not be true. Okay, it may not be that there's a God or a power. There could be, but I'm just saying it may not be anybody who's divinely going, I'm going to give, Lisa or Rick, I'm going to give them these lessons so they can learn.
Right.
It's for them, right? But if you apply that to your thinking of, what, this is really for me, there's something to learn here, I will benefit, I always land on my feet, good ultimately comes, the sun, everything changes, this too will pass, it goes from winter to summer, from summer to winter. So you know what, it's all part of what it is. Before humans were on the planet, things just happened. You had we now call them bad weather days, but so that you understand what I'm getting at.
Yes.
There were weather that we would not like today. Storms, fire, earthquakes, ice age, intense heat, volcanoes, hurricanes, whatever. but there was nobody there to call it good or bad. Nobody there to judge what it was.
That's right.
Until humans arose on the planet. And then their tent or teepee or fort got knocked over and they went, this is a bad day. I have to rebuild this. This sucks. What am I going to do? And that led us to make, and judgment and discerning is good if we do it in a wise way.
Yes.
Use it to divide ourselves and to hate people and to exclude people just because of color or religion or gender or whatever, it's crazy. But to be able to discern and go, there's crap in life and there are diamonds. I say dog crap or diamonds, dog crap or diamonds, dog crap or diamonds. We'll choose, right? You have one or two.
Yeah.
Which is what you want, Well, I want to choose diamonds. So what I learned was this, and this is true about the entrepreneurial journey, is that there's a destination that people want to get to in their business, in their personal life, in their relationships, in their health, whatever it is. There's the destination. And you have to be able to focus on the destination as if you already have it and live from that feeling of this is mine.
Yeah.
Because what happens for a lot of people is they look at that and go, I don't know that I could ever do that. Or I want to make $1 million or 10 million, but I don't think I can do that. So when they look at their destination, instead of feeling like, wow, this is so wonderful, this is incredible, they go,
yeah.
And it scares them or it terrifies them,
Yeah.
or they worry about it, or they notice the distance between where they want to be and where they are. And if you're looking at the distance between the two, you're not looking at where you want to be. You're looking at the gap between them, and you're not going to get there if you're looking at the gap. You
yes.
Go by going, this is who I am, what I'm going to do, what I'm going to create, what I'm going to attract. I have it right now, even when it's not visible to you in the outer world. You got to have it.
Yes.
In here. And
yes.
your attitude has to be like, this is so cool. I love it. And but that's not how people are living. They're going, I don't know if I feel it. They're trying to figure it out.
Yes.
Now, here's the problem with the self-help.
Yes.
I've been called into billionaires, millionaires' homes and businesses. I've done this for decades and decades. And I meet these people and they go, look at what I get. I built this empire, men and women alike. I built this empire. I have these homes. I have these cars. I got my yacht. I got my jet. I got all these things. I got all money, more than I could do. I've got the trophy relationships. I got everything's going for me. And I suck. I hate myself. I feel so lost and alone and so desperate. And none of this matters. And I was, I grew up in Hollywood, with the show business thing. And the thing is this. There's so many people who get the fame, they get the TV show, they get the movie, and then they go, this isn't what I thought it would be.
Yes.
And there's drug addiction and alcohol addiction and suicide and all sorts of stuff. And you see it, go on, all the time. And it's not just show business. It's in every industry. It's in every walk of life. People go, it's not what I wanted. It's not what I expect, because it doesn't fulfill them. The object, the thing doesn't fulfill you.
Yes.
You have to be fulfilled.
Yes.
It's not it. So you be it, you can do it, and then you can have it. And what happens in the self-help industry is just like our advertisers. First off, you have flaky hair. You've got these white things that fall on your shoulder. You got bad teeth or yellow teeth, smelly breath, pits that are bad skin. There's some flaw that we need a product or a medicine or something to solve, because we're not enough. We're not good enough. And if we're just human the way we are, we stink, and so,
yeah.
But here's where the self-improvement people go, yes, that's true about you. And so what do you need? You need a car, a house, a yacht, you need a business, need to have $1 million. They tell you to go for the things. And those things will now fulfill you. Get rid of the stinky breath, get rid of the hair, get the house, or prove who you are, tell your story, get out there and do it. And then I will show you how. Here's a technique, a tip, a strategy, a hack, or something. And they get all chasing stuff. You need a better funnel. You need a better business plan. You need a better mentor. You need a different coach. You need, a different strategy. You need something different. And they got everybody trying to do things or take massive action. And guess what? Massive action is a lie.
Oh, my goodness.
When do you need to take massive action? Occasionally.
Yeah.
Like if your car is stuck in the mud, you may need to get a tow truck to get it out. You may need to do something massively to get it running. But once you get the car out and it's running, you don't need to take massive action for it again.
Yeah.
Even if your car died, if you manage to push it and you do it in neutral, it takes a little bit of effort to get it going. But once it get it going, inertia takes over and it will just keep going. All you can do is you can almost touch it with your hand and it'll keep going. Now, if it goes up a hill, you're going to have to take action. And if it runs down a hill, you're going to have to run after it. because it has this momentum. And what you want to do is learn how your mindset, how to be it, creates this momentum in your life that when you start winning, you win and win and win and win and win and win and win, and you pick up the wins. Because what do winners do? They win. And what do successful people do? They succeed. And why? Because they have this momentum that they create their mindset, because they are it. They have a passion and a drive and a love for what it is they do. And if you love what you do and you're not chasing the object, then it doesn't matter if you work 16 or 20 hours, because it's something you love and the energy is there and you vibrate high and you're fulfilled. Otherwise, it's a drudge. It's a, I have to do these things. Look, our projections didn't come true. We didn't make our weekly quota or whatever. And they go into this rabbit hole of negativity instead of spiraling up into it and taking that energy with them into all the things. And here, the destination is important. You got to know what you want.
Yeah.
Know it, that you have it, that it's possible, that you can do it, and live from the feeling as if you've done it.
Yes.
Like if you did win the lottery, not I'm going to win the lottery, I hope I win. People buy tickets and go, I'm probably not going to win this thing. I mean, that's the same kind of thing people do in their life. And they probably aren't going to win the lottery.
Yeah.
But there are those people who go, I knew I was going to win.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes.
I'm going to tell you a little secret about me. I've never talked about this, I don't think, on the air ever.
Oh, tell us.
I don't like gambling. I don't gamble. I don't do anything. And a friend of mine, a lot of my friends in Hollywood were horse lovers. They love to go to the track. So I've been to the track twice in my life and could care less. One time I walked all the way from the track back home, which took me 15 hours. But the other time I went in and they handed me the racing form. I went like that. When all was said and done, I picked 8 out of 9 winners.
That's awesome.
I didn't bet it because I didn't know I picked 8 out of 9 winners. My friend who's now deceased was going around going, "You can't believe what he did. He picked 8 out of 9 winners." And I was like, I don't know. I just like their names. I didn't know.
Right. Yes.
Had I known, I'd have bet him, but
right.
So my point is
man,
if you live as if you already have it and it's something you love and you're passionate about and it helps you and helps other people, you're on the right track. So as there's the destination.
Yeah.
I want to go to New York City, and I'm in the Midwest currently. I know where I want to go. In order to get there, I plan a route and I take these things, and guess what? It's going to change, correct?
Yes, of course.
Our best laid plans of mice and men, they're, often go awry. So you got to know that you're going to make adjustments all along the way. There's going to be detours, or you're going to get a flat tire or whatever, and that's all part of the journey. When I was a kid, tell me if this resonates with you or any of the others. My parents would take me on trips to meet relatives or go to see the Grand Canyon or something. And all the while we were there, I'd lie down on the floor of the car in the back seat and go, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet? How long is this gonna take?"
Yes.
I hated traveling. Even as a speaker for many, many years, I'd be flying all over the world, and I hated to travel. I loved being there, but I hated the process of traveling. I didn't want to go and stand in the airport. I didn't want to have to get there. I didn't want to take. What I realized is, with these billionaires and millionaires in their homes, they got everything they want and they're not happy. They got to their destination and it wasn't enough. You can die on your way to the destination. I mean, think about that for a second. So the destination is one thing, and it should be important to you because that's what you want to get. But how you get there is what truly matters.
Yes.
Because if you do die, or if you do find out that the destination isn't the reward, or if you do go, I'd rather go to Mexico instead, then the destination has changed. So it's how you journey.
Yes.
How you journey is an entrepreneur. And the thought leaders who you need to know this and this and this and this, and feel bad until you do, and compare yourself against the Joneses and make sure and crush your competition and 10x your this and do that kind of, they're all leading you really astray, because it's a whole lot simpler and easier than all of that. It truly is so much simpler when you get what you need to do. When you need to be it, you'll do it what's right, and then you'll have what you want. But they all have you doing, they go, if you know what you want to have, then do all these different things: struggle, risk, it's hardship, sacrifice. Not saying that you don't do that, but if your mindset is right, none of it is a hardship, none of it is a sacrifice. of it is a risk. None of it is, because you're doing it from love and from passion and from enjoyment. And this is what entrepreneurs need to know. And you don't have to crush anyone in order to do it. It doesn't have to be.
Yes.
So how you travel and what you do on your entrepreneurial journey and what you do in your life journey is truly, truly, truly important.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that message. I do. And I remember laying on the floor in a car, no seatbelts. I always liked the journey though. So maybe I'm one of the weird ones. I love traveling. And what I was thinking about in that messaging too, is that even when we get to the destination, because I have a feeling that the people who are watching here have achieved some modicum of success or a wild success, and they are feeling stuck. I mean, that's the people I work with. That's the people I've been connecting with lately. And so they've achieved certain milestones, certain goals, and they want more, but they're confused because, okay, I achieved 6 figures. I achieved, finally producing my podcast, and I have a good following, but I don't feel fulfilled. It's not enough. And the reality is, and when you were sharing the analogy of the journey, even when we get to the destination, the stories that we tell about our trip usually have to do with everything that went wrong along the way.
Right.
I traveled through Europe back in my early 20s, and I'll never forget, I traveled with 4 other people, so there were 5 of us along the way, and we went to these amazing cities. But when I recount the stories, oh yeah, we went to Milan, we went to Florence, we went to Paris and things like that. Well, how was it? Well, let me tell you about when I got kicked off a train in the middle of France in the middle of the night, and I was the only one that spoke this much un peu French. You know what I mean? The stories along the way are the most exciting things in our lives, and yes, I got to experience Paris ultimately, but what stayed with me was the connections I made, the people who helped me to find a car, to get to Paris, to do the things. And once I'm standing there at the Eiffel Tower, it was it was beautiful, but all of those other memories were more impactful to my story.
No, and that's great, because so few people experience that. By comparison, 98% of the people won't make $1 million in their lifetime. I mean, they'll make it but they won't have it in the bank. They won't live the life of their dreams because they're too busy following the programming, the conditioning that we have been given to. I mean, consider this for a second. As a child, you come out of the womb, you're this learning, vibrant, living energy, but you've never been here before, and everything is new and fresh and everything else. That it's why, and kids will chase things and do things and play and learn and explore and discover. And then they go to school and they're told to sit still, not fidget. They're given crappy food. Now in the USA, most of our recesses have been shortened. Gym time has been shortened. I mean, when my daughter went to high school, they'd have gym 1 quarter, but not any of the other time. So the rest of the time they're sitting in their classroom, told to be still, told to be quiet. If they fidget, move, or anything, they're drugged or medicated.
That's right.
Made wrong. And then you get a test, which is just testing your memorization. Very few people have any kind of practical experience. Lab results maybe. Where you have a practicum. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just regurgitating information that you got.
Exactly.
And you get marked wrong. And if you know it, you pass. And if you don't know it, you're not passed. And then they change the topic and they move on because they have to use so much information within a given period of time. And then if you're lucky, you move to the next grade. Well, you know what? The brain doesn't learn that way.
Yeah.
What it does learn is it learns how to wire things in, and it learns by habit and repetition. So if you're told you're wrong, and you're told no, and you're told you're no good, and you're told you can't do it, this is the messages that happen. And the brain learns fastest by high intensity. So a heavy trauma, the brain gets it right away. A really heavy positive peak experience, brain gets it right away. These are the things that we predominantly remember in our lives. You don't remember all the time you gave you a compliment, or all of the presents you got, but you remember those peak moments. Remember, Paris, right?
Yes.
But the other thing is people don't get at dinner time. They don't go, somebody opened the door for me this morning. I was walking down the street and someone smiled. They go, let me tell you, the coffee barista, my coffee was cold, and it didn't have this cinnamon, it didn't have this, and the guy on the freeway, and they drag this crap around with them the entire day. They live less gloriously, they live negatively, they complain. And if you're living mostly negative, you're not going to have a positive life. If your attitude sucks, you're not going to have a good life. Travis Air Force Base, back many years ago, and it was the basis of my work in the 70s. did a cancer study with 157 patients and determined that attitude was the number one, the attitude toward the treatment, the success of the treatment was the number one predictor for the success of the treatment. And we didn't know placebo effect from it. We didn't know the words neuroplasticity, like you were saying on TV. Now these words are common. When I was doing my work, we talked about making the placebo effect conscious, meaning you have to use your beliefs to move you forward in life. You have to believe, like Henry, that I can and that I will in order to make things happen.
Yes.
So your attitude determines your altitude is absolutely true. Attitude, it turns out, now decades later, there's more than 45,000 studies on the placebo and visualization and use of imagination and attitude. This is attitude is the number one predictor for success in all areas of your life. Why I created the Attitude Activator, which is the process that teaches you how to activate your attitude to get unstuck and move forward, and not only that, but to create the positive kind of self-talk we need to have, because so many people going around going, I'm not good enough, and they're worried, or they're fearful, or they're hateful, or they're angry or frustrated or something, instead of being joyful, blissful, enthused, eager, excited. If you're an entrepreneur and you're starting your business, you should be going, wow, I can't believe it. The world is my oyster. The brain does two things, and here's why people get it wrong. It's designed to help you survive. There's no such thing as a negativity bias. That's bullshit. Excuse my language. And there's no such thing as self-sabotage. I write about that in my book. We won't go into it now, but the brain can only do what the brain does, and it learns to move in a positive direction. It can only carry out, it's like your computer. Your computer can't do things other than what it's been programmed to do. So your brain is always doing what it's been programmed to do, and then you decide, I want to do something different, and your brain goes, whoa, no, we're keeping on the program. Because your brain is designed to keep you surviving, it's not negativity. If you notice danger in your environment,
that's right.
That's a very positive thing. Negativity bias is a BS term that should never be used. It's a survival bias. Why does it want to survive? So you can replicate. So you can have
that's right. So we can survive. Yeah.
So you can next, really. But no, so you can replicate and so that you can thrive. And it works on the law of conservation and least effort. It doesn't work on massive action. It works on doing the very least. So what does the brain do? It wires in these neural habits so that we don't have to think about them. Because if you had to learn how to open a door every day, or how to compliment somebody, or how to use a spoon, life would be overwhelming. If every time something happened and you were threatened, you had to figure out, what do I do now? Which is where people are teaching you. Get the hack, get the technique, get the stuff, get the thing, figure out what you have to do. The brain doesn't do that. The brain goes, this is what I do. And it runs, it flees, it freezes, or it goes into a productive, positive behavior if you've trained it to do that. And most people are conditioned to feel less than, not their authentic self, but less than resourceful. And they feel like they're missing things in life, and they focus on the negative and all the things that are wrong instead of the positive. So you have to recondition your brain to think positive. And how do you do that? You have to do the correct thing repeatedly, consistently, with enough intensity for long enough for it to become a habit. It's not 21 days. It could be 2 years. It could be 30 days. It could be whatever. But think of it this way. You remember payphones?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Some people will go, what the heck?
I know. They'll say, what's a payphone? They'll look it up.
You used to put money into these things, and then you could get change back because there was a little change drawer at the bottom. So imagine you went to a phone booth, you dialed up your phone, you're talking, and you happen to open the change drawer, and there's a $100 bill in there. You go, oh my God, I just got a $100 bill. You go, wow, this is great. Now, if you got a quarter or a nickel or a dime, you go, that is cool. I got a quarter. You put it in your pocket, but you got a $100 bill. That's pretty intense.
Yes.
So how often do you think you check the drawer in the payphones after that? Probably a lot, right? Now, you may not find another $100 bill ever, but you may not find one for months, but I bet you'd be checking it.
That's right.
Or a dime, you might check it, but
I check it.
But it's the intensity of the experience.
Yes.
Now, if every time, every fifth time you find a quarter, you just keep checking.
Right.
Yes. And so the point is that if you do it correctly, repeatedly, consistently, with intensity, because the intensity is what the brain responds. That's why living as if you have it. Think of Christmas or Hanukkah. I, as a kid, and I never could understand this. I wanted my presents. I knew they were coming. Christmas Day, they were there. I got what I wanted. And hours later, I was sad. it was this post. It's like what actors experience when a play or a movie shuts down.
Yes.
Production
Yes.
blues. The performance is over. Now what? I got the present. Now what?
Yes.
Gratitude. You go, I got the present. So to your point, to your question,
Yeah.
they get to the destination. We're born, we're here to create, to replicate, to create life.
Yeah.
So if you get your destination, create something else.
That's right.
Idea, keep going. Just because you got somewhere, it doesn't mean that's the only place you're ever supposed to be. Do something else.
Yeah.
Earl Nightingale said success is the steady progression towards a worthwhile goal, and goals
Yes.
are, but the idea that there's a progression. So think of it as like rungs of a ladder.
Yeah.
If it's a destination that you want to get to, then you've got more to get to. And don't think of it as an uphill climb. Just think of it as, you know what, I'm winning. And I won and I got this. And now I'm going to go on to the next thing. And I won and I get this.
Yes.
You might fail. You might not get the nickel or the quarter or $100 bill a couple of times. And boom, something will happen.
I love that.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going because you feel the fulfillment of being in the journey. So you feel blessed and grateful and go, wow, this is exciting. I'm on an adventure. When you're on an adventure, by the way, Indiana Jones got the snakes and the girl.
That's right. He did.
You get the good with the not so good. You get you get all the people trying to take you out. You get all the wonderful adventures of living the high life, doing what you're doing.
That's right.
Life is an adventure. And the more you're open to it, and the more you're curious, and the more you become aware, and the more you celebrate. My tagline is celebrate everything, because it's all good.
I love that.
All good.
Yeah. Even the challenges, even the challenges.
And I've had students who've gone on and made millions and billions of dollars, without me, but as a result of coming in and learning how to do this and get their mindset straight and develop the ability to be first. Yes. So that when they are authentic, then they do from that authenticity and have what it is they want to have, as opposed to trying it the other way around. If you have that, it's because you did this so that you can become something that you're not right now.
Yeah.
And it's totally the opposite way. Become it so that you do it, and then you'll have what it is that you've always wanted.
Yeah. Be, do, have. Yeah. Be it first. Yeah.
And the other thing is one thing to, what do you want? People say, I want a lot of money, but if you really don't want the money, you want what the money can bring you. So you say, well, I can buy a house. Well, you don't really want the house. What do you want? You want that feeling that the house gives you.
Yes.
What is that feeling? Well, maybe it's security, maybe it's freedom, maybe it's accomplishment, maybe it is. So in other words, stop chasing the things that you think will get you there and start looking at what it is that you feel once you have it.
Yes.
That you don't end up on Christmas morning going, well, that was stupid. I don't feel like this.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Sometimes the goal we're reaching for isn't the true essence of what we really, really need and want.
Absolutely. So you have to clarify. You have to define your purpose and what it is. And
that's
how
right. Yeah.
And it becomes everything.
Yes. And you speak to another topic that comes up in our community a lot, and that is like the completion energy. That's what I call it, I guess, So even when you've accomplished a goal and you're happy with the goal, and after the plays, I was in theater in high school as well. And I remember the week after, we all walked around like zombies, depressed and sad, and because it was completion energy. We were no longer creating. We were no longer in that energy. And had we launched right into like a next season, or we're looking forward to maybe like just a spot thing or whatever, I think you stay in that energy. But as entrepreneurs, I think we think that the destination is the ultimate, and we get disappointed and think something's wrong. And I think that you've spoken about this a lot, in that it's not that we are wrong. It's not that we are flawed when we get to somewhere and we don't feel happy, because some people feel like it's their fault. Maybe they're a depressed person. They need to figure this out. But really, it's just that we're looking at it the wrong way. It's all about the perspective.
Looking at it from habit. You're looking from your conditioning. You're looking what you were programmed to look, how you were programmed to look. And unless you change that programming, you're always going to look at it that way.
Right.
So the opportunity, when people get disappointed, when people have hardship, when people have a crisis like the one I talk about in my book, it's the opportunity to change and transform and be different from that conditioning. And that can happen instantly with a powerful decision. Some people go, that's it, never, I'm done. I will never do that. Think of the Scrooge story. Even fiction, He lived his life totally one way, and overnight, because he got this crap scared out of him, went, okay, I'm living differently. Merry Christmas, everybody. But transformation can happen like that, but it doesn't always. Sometimes it is that steady progression. And one of the things that entrepreneurs should understand is it's easier to focus on one thing and accomplish that and move to the next thing than to do a whole bunch of things at one time. If you want to hit a dartboard, you have to aim at the target, I mean, and then you have to do some adjustments in order to hit the bullseye, but you don't just randomly throw darts and hope that they hit. And a lot of people do that. They put all this stuff out there, and then it doesn't really happen, and they're scattered. And the reason why they're not getting the results that they want is because they're not focused. They're not being what they want. So be who you are, so that you do what you do, so that you can have what you have. And when you get it, now do the next thing. And it doesn't hurt to plan the next thing before you get there, so that you know what your next step is, so that you keep the momentum going, and so that you don't walk around like zombies. I mean, exactly. So but also it's all good. And the other thing is understand that a lot of times people are in it for themselves. If somebody's in it for themselves, they're in it for themselves. But the people who seem to really make a difference are the people who go, what does the world need?
Yes, I love that.
Whether it was the telegraph machine or the steam engine, whether it was, whatever system, that we've come up with, electricity, lighting I mean, there's arguments about whether Tesla should have given away free power or the way we've got it. But the point is that if you think globally, like, what do people need? What can I solve? What can I have happen? What problem exists that I can contribute to in a positive way? Those people tend to break through, because they're not trying to go, I just want money, I want money, I want money, I want money. They're going, how do I make this happen for people? How do I make things? And it's the giving the energy out there, and we know givers get, right? And me, it's a lot harder than if you go, sure. And it's kind of interesting, because if I take you to lunch, what do you want to do?
I want to take you to lunch next.
Exactly, the law of reciprocity, right?
That's right.
Well, the universe kind of works in the same way. You give out and you get back. That's what the whole law of attraction is. By the way, I want to stop right now the silliness. Action is, just because it's in the word attraction doesn't mean that has anything to do with the law of attraction, because the law of attraction in Spanish and Italian and old ancient Hebrew or French doesn't have action in it. It's not the same word. That just happens to be right
in the word.
I mean, come on. Action always accompanies anything. If you're thirsty, you go, I better go get a drink of water. I have to order one, or I got to call one in, or they got to fly one to me, or I got to ring the bell, or whatever. That action follows it. So action is the thing that you should go without saying. Yes, if you have something you want to get done, take action. But if your action is what precedes everything, then you're going to be spinning wheels. Because think about this. There are people who don't know the difference between being busy and being productive. If you get cars stuck in the mud or snow, your tires can spin forever. Now, that's a flurry of activity, and you can step on the gas and master that action and go nowhere.
Right. Yes.
So it isn't about the action. It's about whether it is productive or not. So in that metaphor or analogy kind of breaks down at that point. But the point again is you get the car out of there, and then inertia will take care of the rest. A body in motion will tend to stay at motion until a force acts upon it, and a body at rest will stay or a body in motion will stay in motion until acted on by an outside force, and a body at rest will stay at rest until acted upon by an outside motion. So that should tell you something. That action is always part of everything.
That's right.
But it's not the first step. The journey of 1,000 miles, you've heard that one, begins with a single step. No, it begins with the decision to make that first step.
Yes, I like that. Yeah.
And that's why Napoleon Hill said, if you can conceive it and believe it, two things have to happen. Conceive and believe, you can achieve it. And he said, I didn't say you will achieve it, because I don't know what you're going to do with it. You may, maybe not, but you can if you conceive and believe it. So let me say this again, going back to the thought leaders. If anyone tells you that they do it for you, or can do it, or can rescue you, or they can reach down and lift you up or heal you, people say, I'm an energy healer. We're all energy healers. We're all made up of energy. There is no such thing. We all heal on our own. And yes, we can have other people, But when Jesus walked the planet doing what people called miracles,
Mhm.
he didn't say, "Aren't you happy I healed you?" He said, "You're healed. Do you believe it?" They say, "Yes." He go, "Your faith has made you whole. Go and sin no more." In other words, it's not about me, the healer, me, the Jesus, me, the miracle worker, me, the thought leader, me, the guru, me, the mentor, me, the coach. It's about putting the power back in the person
Yes.
who needs to make the change. So that's why I say my students have gone on to make millions and billions. They've transformed their lives, done everything, but they did it. I didn't do it for them. I shared some things with them that helped them put themselves on the path. But if they didn't apply it, they didn't go anywhere. But fortunately, many of them do. And why? Because it doesn't have to be hard.
Yes.
It can be,
Oh,
it can be
yes.
fun, it can be delightful, it can be joyful, it can be an amazing journey. That's how the brain works. That's why I wrote Life on Your Terms. That's why I created the Attitude Activator and Directed Questions and Mind Design and all these things, because it can be simple and it can be fun, and it can be an experience. You can't know about it. You can't just read about it. You can't just think about it. You do have to have the experience. That's why, again, going to the destination, if you be it first and you have the experience of what it's like to already have what you want, and you look from that feeling, that energy, that vibration, then you start to put everything, your unconscious, the consciousness, infinite intelligence, God, divine, whatever you want to call it, source, conspires with you to bring it about. Your subconscious mind does it because you're programming your subconscious mind. This is what I want. And why? Because the intensity of living from the feeling makes it significant. The brain goes, "Oh, I get it. This is what we do now," as opposed to, "I'm going to complain about the coffee guy. I'm going to complain about the person on the freeway. I'm going to complain about my coworkers or my bosses or my employees or whatever." The intensity is up. And so the brain goes, "I get it. This is what you want." And the brain is your servant, designed to keep you alive and to keep you thriving. Can't do anything that it's not programmed to do. So when you know and you're feeling it, then the brain goes, "This is what you want."
Yeah.
It
delivers.
And you have to do it repeatedly, correctly, consistently, intensely for long enough, and it will deliver. And so this is what is so missing from so many of the people out there, because they're telling you to just do more, work harder, do this, find that,
do a different thing.
Something else, do something. Or they go, "I will save you, this, that, and the other thing," when in fact they cannot. So if they're telling you to save you, or that they heal you, or that they changed you, and I hear this all the time being around people, they can't. You can do it. This is the other thing. You, who's watching or listening right now, can make incredible change, because you're infinite possibility, infinite resources, infinite opportunities, and all sorts of goodness. You just have to discover that you can vibe high and find your authentic self, and then everything becomes possible to you. And you find that peace that passes all understanding, and the abundance that's pressed together, shaken down, and overflowing, and all the other, whether they're biblical promises or Torah promises, or from the Tao Te Ching, it doesn't matter. Or if you're an atheist and don't believe in anything, from science, it all works together for good.
Actually, it does.
If you believe that, because attitude is one predictor for success in all areas of your life.
Oh, I could listen to you all day, Rex. I love your messaging. And the one word that keeps popping into my head as you're talking is this sense of hope and possibility. And, when I think about what the world needs right now, we need a whole big dose of hope and possibility, because at least right now, I get the sense that a lot of people are struggling. They're feeling helpless. They're feeling hopeless. They're feeling despair, fear. All these things are really prominent in our culture. And yet the messages that you speak about are the truth, I believe. And there are enough other people out there. I don't want to call them leaders or gurus or things like that, but other people who are embracing these ideas, who I have met, who are living out what you're expressing, that it is possible. And I especially love the messaging of it doesn't have to be hard, because that's another thing I hear from people too. Like, I don't know if I can do whatever it is that I'm supposed to be doing. And the reality is that I believe, and you can tell me if you resonate with this too, that if we are called to do something and we are doing it, then it isn't hard. Even if we have to get additional skills. Like, I still had to go to school to learn psychology and go to school to learn coaching. But as I was in it, it was such a natural interest that the schooling wasn't hard. The learning wasn't hard. The getting the degrees wasn't hard. Finding clients wasn't hard, because the whole process was in alignment with what I enjoyed and what my essence was calling me forth to do. And so, all of what you're saying is it just shines hope over all of us. And I hope that the entrepreneurs listening can feel that, because I feel that right now.
Well, let me share a little story. I got out of my first year of college at 17 with a D-. I hated it, didn't want to be there. I fought everyone and everything. I could care less about it. I wanted to be just pursuing the acting career. I didn't want to be in school. My parents were like, go to college for a year at least, and then you can pursue your career. I did the year. I got out of there just above failing, and I pursued my acting career. I later, in my early 30s, went back to school because I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved it. And I soared through with an a 4.0. I think I ultimately ended up with like slightly less than a 4.0, like whatever historically. But the point is that it was a joy. All of the studies, I didn't like certain classes.
Sure.
I mean, some because I had to take them. I didn't get grandfathered in. That, but the ones that were in my wheelhouse that I really want to learn, I sailed through them. I had a psychology, anthropology, sociology, and communication. I ultimately majored in communication just to get out of school. But but I loved the hardest class in the communication department was this one that I was like one of the very few people that got an A in it. I don't say that because I was smarter or better or anything than anyone else. I just loved it. And because I loved it, I read it, I studied it, I imbibed it, I did everything I could. When I came to writing my thesis, the guy's like, whoa, you really get this. I go, it's not because I'm brilliant. It's because you're a brilliant professor. But I mean, it really was. Yeah. Because of the energy I put into it, because I was thrilled by it, because I wanted it. I wanted to know it. And I mean, and that was true of other classes in the other field. I'd have been an anthropologist if I could have stayed with one professor the entire time. I just adored this professor. He was so smart.
Awesome.
And some of the other ones weren't so cool, and there's not much of a career in anthropology unless you want to teach it, but or be an archaeologist. But the point is that how you feel about things drives it. Yes. And how you feel depends on if you think about it. Because if you go, oh, I hate that, you're not going to feel good about it. If you go, but this sucks, if all the while you're doing, oh God, I can't believe I'm doing this, you're not going through with ease. You're not going through with fun, grace, with And so how you approach anything is how you approach everything. And to that end, also, a lot of people get overwhelmed. And I in my book, again, I talk about this, and it's not rocket science. If you want to be a winner, because what do winners do? They win. Set yourself up to win at everything. So instead of going, I'm going to clean the garage today, or I'm going to get all those reports done today, or whatever, go, I'm going to start with this. Like, I'm going to clean this corner. I'm going to clean this cabinet, or I'm going to clean this.
Yes.
Break it down, make it small enough that you can do it. Because motivation doesn't come from the outside, and motivation doesn't come from, going and hearing a speaker. You get pumped up for a little while, and then by the way, if you go to a seminar and they're really doing the adrenaline pump, know this, you're not going to learn much, because adrenaline isn't the chemical that you need to learn. That's what you need to fight or flee. And a lot of them are run through adrenaline. You need other things, but the point is you don't need adrenaline to clean your garage. You don't need adrenaline to feel motivated. What you need is to win enough. Like, I cleaned that shelf. Now that's cool. I feel like doing a little bit more. And then I feel good. And then I feel like doing a little bit more. And then I feel like doing a little bit more. And because I'm getting the hits from it, I'm releasing those neurochemicals. And I feel like doing a little bit more. Muhammad Ali said something really telling. He said, I hate training. I don't want to get out and run behind a car on a cold day. There are plenty of days I don't feel like I want to train. But if I want to be the world champion boxer, I know I already am, because I'm the greatest. He didn't go, someday I'll be the greatest. I am the greatest,
That's right.
If I sting like a bee, he was right there with the whole thing. But he said, I don't feel like training, but I do it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's something that people have to understand. When you're feeling down and negative, and like you don't want to do something, it doesn't mean that you can't. It depends Do you have a big enough purpose? Do you have something that you want to do? Or
Yeah.
could you do it, in other words, go, well, I'm not going to go out and run behind a car, but I can do some floor exercises here in the living room. In other words, there's something that you can do to continue to move towards what it is that you want without it being, without shutting it down. Or,
Yes.
people go to the gym. It's like people who smoke or drink oftentimes do this. They do the thing and they give it up and they feel so good. And then 6 months later, they have a cigarette or a drink and they go, oh, it blew the whole program. It's all over. And they just go back to the habit. Like like the 6 months didn't matter.
Yeah.
They were free of it for 6 months. Just take another 6 months.
Right.
Get back on,
get back on. Yep.
Do it. And people go to the gym in January and then they do it for 2 or 3 weeks and then they skip a day. And when you skip a day, again, you release these chemicals. So it gets easier to skip another day and another day and another
That's
day.
right.
Skip the day, just go back the next day.
That's
and
right.
You'll keep that momentum.
Yes. Perfect word, momentum. Yes.
And it goes back to the car. If you push a car in neutral, it doesn't take a whole lot of effort once you get it started to continue to push it.
Yeah.
Because it moves on its own.
Yes.
But you have to realize when you're being negative. You have to understand when your attitude isn't serving you, when you're operating out of your conditioning, and that's where awareness comes in. And if you can recognize that, then you can shift away from it. So it's dogs that are diamonds. You pick the diamonds, not the crap. You pick the diamonds, not the crap. Pick the diamonds, not the crap, until that becomes a habit. And when it becomes the habit, you master it. And then it becomes automatic and reliable and consistent for you. You don't do it sometimes and then not other times because you've wired it in. But you have to do it for long enough. Dennis Waitley will say, how long does it take for somebody to develop these skills in athletics or whatever? It might take a year or two. How long does it take for a habit to develop? Well, who knows? You do it until it's the habit. Don't worry about the time frame. That's what the why is. The hack, the magic bullet, the instant on TV, the faster computer speeds and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We're conditioned to feel less than glorious, to fight among ourselves, to be distracted, to want things really quick and fast, not put in the work, not do anything. In the early days, there was, master and disciple. There was a master carpenter or a master stones crafts person, or whatever, and then there were apprenticeships. Even in the knighthood, there was the page and the whatever. I forget the sequence now when I'm talking, but there were steps up to becoming a knight. Nowadays, everybody wants it yesterday. They want they want to be the coach for $7. They want to do the quick training. They want to get it so that they can put something up out on the internet or all these accolades instead of actually mastering what it takes to be it. And again, it's not hard.
Right.
And action is part of it. But the decision to do it, the mindset that follows it, what happens after the first thought is what determines your success or not. If you go, I can't do that, and then you feel bad, and the next thought is, so shoot, I guess I'm gonna, life sucks.
Yeah.
And then you feel worse, and then your next another negative thought, you're gonna spiral down. But if you go, I can never do that, and you go, well, who says I can't?
Yeah.
What if I could? And how easy could I discover it being if I just started something? And you know what? Maybe it's worth it for me to do this. And you lead yourself out of the negativity and into positivity. That's why the saying is, you can't lead a downhill life living. You can't go uphill thinking downhill thoughts.
Yes, I like that. Yeah. Yes. Oh, you speak such wisdom. And I think it's really refreshing too, because the messaging out there is varied. There are some people speaking to this message out there. There are, but I think the majority of people that pop up on my screen anyway, my social media feed or whatever, is this, this idea of get rich quick, or, just do these 5 steps and you'll be a millionaire tomorrow. It's very appealing. I mean, that would be fantastic. But the reality is too, like you talked about the $100 bill in the phone booth, like there are people who have mastered this mindset, who have embraced the idea that I am wealthy, I am abundant in all areas of my life. It crosses over. And, so this conference today is about, money and manifesting and things like that. And one of the things that I think you've been speaking to over and over and over again is these principles speak to not just, financial, because some people here might be like, oh, great, I'm going to go visualize like The Secret, I'm going to go visualize having the money, the car, the things, but this applies to everything. And when we use these principles that you're talking about, and I hope that people seek you out, get your book, Life on Your Terms, and do all those things, because there is a practice, there are practical techniques and things like that we can integrate, right? But once we do, like, the money is just a side product,
Right.
or a byproduct, I should say, of the feeling of abundance, the feeling of satisfaction, fulfillment, things like that. So there's so much more I would love to talk about. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, there are people who have virtually no money in the world.
Yes.
They're deliriously happy, and they don't see absence. And then there are people who have lots and lots and lots and lots of money and are miserable and wretched lives and horrible people or great people, but just very, very sad,
That's right.
And so it isn't the money, it is everything else. If you can discover, and that's why, like when I tell people when they come into programs, it's about experience. It's about the doing of this, but having the experience so that they have a muscle memory. They develop the muscle memory of it, because you can know about it. You can read about it. You can talk about it until we're blue in the face. But until you actually, it's kind of like, I can hold a meal out in front of you and go, here, it's yours. And you go, yeah, and we can talk all about it. But until you taste it, you don't know what you're there.
That's
right.
You
actually have to have tasting in this case. So, but when you do, what you can discover is that you can be rich and have everything else. You can be happy and not be rich, but have everything else. It doesn't matter if your attitude is so wonderful. But sadly, the conditioning, what's in the media, what's in our ads, what's in thought leader ads, is mostly fear-based. And why? Because if you stick your hand in fire, you go, ow, not to do that, it hurts. And more people will react from pain in many ways than they will from pleasure. But it's not easy to pile pain on yourself. You can't just go, okay, I'm going to make it so miserable that I actually do this stuff, because most people at some point go, well, that's stupid. Why would I do that? I think, they flagellate themselves and punch themselves in the head.
Yes.
It doesn't work. But it is a very effective approach in advertising.
Yes, it is.
Where it came from? Edward Bernays. You know who Edward Bernays is?
No, I do not.
He was Freud's nephew.
Get out.
And when we went from being an agrarian culture to a manufacturing culture, industrial age, he said, I will get people to part from their money. He's the one who got women to smoke. He's created the ad campaigns. It was called propaganda in its day. He said, using Freud was not happy with him, but he said, using Freud's approach, I can get people to do what they want so that they will buy more. And he took us from being a need-based society to a want-based society.
Wow.
So if you were a farmer and you had a tractor, you didn't need 3 or 4 tractors. But in a want-based society, you wanted 3 or 4 tractors, which was different. So I'll get them buying these things, and obviously the oligarchy, the manufacturers, the corporations were thrilled, because Ford said, I'll never create a car that the assembly line worker can't afford to buy. And now most assembly line workers can't afford to buy the cars that they make.
Yes.
Right. So
very
they
true.
don't pay the worker bee very much, but they separate the worker bee from their money. Why? Because if you want things and you keep spending your money, you'll never get ahead, because you have to learn to invest, and you have to learn and this is what you don't learn in school and what they don't teach you. And the media is all fear-based, it's recession-based, inflation-based, it's this, oh, Wall Street this, Wall Street that. So everybody's living in fear because it's easy to drive them. So propaganda was the field. You know what the field, they changed the name because they decided that might be a little hard for people to understand. You know what the name became?
What?
Public relations.
Interesting.
And most public relations people don't know the history of the PR field.
Interesting.
They're designed to make us want things.
Yeah.
Feel that we need them, that we want them, that we must have them. And it's all based on flaky skin, bad breath, whatever. You're not enough. You don't have enough money. You don't have the car. You don't have the trophy spouse or whatever.
Yeah.
And learn to live without fear, and learn to live with fun and delight and passion, and make your dreams come true, because it's a whole lot easier than most people will tell you it is.
Yeah. I see a problem though with this mentality. If we were to switch the way that the world operates right now, Rex, and switch it back from like the want base to the need base, and people don't need all the things, all the bells and whistles, we might have like a society of happy people. We might have people I gotcha. So we might have people that, are actually fulfilled and satisfied and don't feel that that low self-worth, can you imagine?
Yeah, I mean, and that's why you're here, and that's why you're doing the summit, and that's why I'm here, and that's why the speakers who embrace this are there. We're saying, look, you can have anything and everything you want, and Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough other people get what they want, and that's great advice and true, but you can have it. The thing is that understand that you're being manipulated most of the time.
Yes.
And get free of it. And then and make your own decisions and claim back your power and be at cause instead of being at effect of all these other things. And then guess what? If more and more people did that, if instead of 98% of the people dying without having money, you got 97% and then 95% and then 90%, the world could become a completely different, the outcomes could be completely different for everybody. And we can do that. And it has nothing
Absolutely.
to say, well, that's utopia. No, it's what can happen when instead of competing against each other and trying to crush each other, we collaborate, we cooperate.
Yes.
In harmony instead of going, I'm going to beat my competition and I'm going to be the top. It's attitude. It's the quality of your heart and your life and your thinking. And if to edify and uplift everyone and others, to celebrate others' success, if you can celebrate anything and everything, if you can celebrate your hardship and your trials and the tribulations, you can, and you master that, your life changes, and you can do that. Another person can do that.
Yes, I agree.
And I will leave it with this, because I could talk forever, right?
Yes, same here.
You can light a million candles off with just one candle, but your candle has to be lit first.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's a good book title, Rex.
Somebody probably did it.
Probably. Well, thank you so much for all of this wisdom. And I really hope that everyone who's listening is inspired to go out and light their candle and be the light in the world that is uniquely yours, because we all have our own voice. Like you said, there is no competition. There is only collaboration. And I know that once I made that shift for myself 20 years ago now, my life totally changed. I no longer saw anyone else in my business as a threat. I no longer felt like I had to climb up a ladder, nothing. It's just, we only get to compete with ourselves. We get to collaborate with other like-minded people like this. So thank you. It's been a blessing to talk with you today. Well,
that's great. And because I know people are waiting for me to tell them what they get from me, right?
Yes.
So here's the thing, come join me in a program. It would be fabulous. You go to rexsikes.com. That's my name. And when you go to Rex Sikes, REXSIKES.com, I'm sure you'll put it somewhere, but
yeah, we'll have it here.
You sign up for my newsletter. It's tips and suggestions and advice and videos and audios and different things. It's absolutely free. You do that, I will gift you absolutely free a 22-minute audio MP3 on how to overcome your struggles, your obstacles, your biggest problems, and move forward with delight, and all good things can happen to you. Additionally, Life on Your Terms. I do want you to read the book, and you can get it anywhere, but if you get it from Amazon and you go to rexsikes.com/book, BOOK, or just go to rexsikes.com, you'll find it. It'll give you instructions. It'll say, bring your receipt code from Amazon, pop it in this little window, and I will give you a bonus $497 training called the Mastery Loop, which is how we learn, whole brain accelerated learning, how we learn to acquire new thoughts, new feelings, new speech habits, behavioral habits, and talents and abilities, easy, fast, quick, and fun. It's called the Mastery Loop. It's how we master these things. And I will gift that. It will be a bonus to everyone who gets the book, because I want you to succeed. I want you to have the book, and I want you to have this training. It's an online training. You get access to it immediately. So, come join me in a program. And if you read the book, send me a photo of yourself with the book. That would be wonderful.
Oh, I like that idea. Absolutely.
People all over the world have been sending me photos and rating and reviewing it at Amazon and things like that. It's really cool.
Oh, I love that idea. That's perfect. Oh, and that's a very generous offer. So thank you, Rex, for that. And I hope that everyone who goes out and gets your book signs up for all the opportunities you have, because this is the real deal. You're the real deal. This is the truth. This is the only path I see for all of us to be able to raise our vibrations, to improve not just ourselves, but our industry, our world as a whole. And, you know, we get to honor ourselves and live our best lives. So you're a part of that, and I appreciate that.
And you're a light to the world, and the summit is important. And I hope that people get the takeaways from each and every speaker and from your efforts in making this possible and making it available to people all around the world to be
Thank
able to
you.
participate and transform themselves. So thank you, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you very much, Rex, and I wish you well.
And of course to you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.